Mm. I think we're here. I think we can kick off. Thank you for being here. Welcome to this event, Hate Speech and Human Rights, International Perspectives and Comparative Approaches, jointly organized by Solidarity with Others in Brussels and No Hate Speech Network in Oslo. We have very distinguished speakers today. My name is Coşkun Yorulmaz. I'm a human rights lawyer. I'm a Turkish lawyer, and I represent Solidarity with Others today. I have with me today Alketa, Cipi from No Hate Speech Network. Alketa, perhaps I should give you, if you could be the first speaker, please. Just introduce your organization briefly.
Thank you. So I'm Alketa, so I represent the No Hate Speech Network. We are a network that we were created in 2019 from young people and also from activists that they wanted to continue the work of the Council of Europe since it was the campaign before. After that, we are working with the No Hate Speech. We work with individuals, also young people, and also with NGOs to combat and counter narratives about the no hate speech. We work working with the young people to give them critical thinking about how they can recognize, how to combat and how to prevent online and offline hate speech. We do different activities as a network, and also since we are a network, we work with the board members, and also we work with an assembly that we work to do different, like if we are going to do differences in the network. And also board member works with daily activities of the network and decide what we are going to have, and deciding what we are going to work with future projects. We have different activities like training, like online activism, and also different activities that we work under the logo of the No Hate Speech Network. Thank you.
I need to mention that we are recording this event, so just bear that in mind, please. And today we have Noor Azizah. She's going to be joining us from Australia. She represents Rohingya Maìyafuìnor collaborative network. And then I have got Dąbkowski. He's from Center for Citizenship Education, CCE. And of course, we have Anna Tatar again this year. Thank you, Anna. Never Again from Never Again Association. I'm going to give the first word to Noor. But before, I just want to, if I may, I would like to set the stage. A couple of months ago, we were having a meeting with different NGOs from different parts of Europe. And as part of that meeting, we were invited to visit a brilliant school in Belgium, somewhere in Belgium. And the principal was a very bright young gentleman. He took us through the school, perfect architecture, a large school, and brilliant facilities. And he was very proud to say that the mark of the school was very high in national audits. And in the passing, he just mentioned that almost like 9 years ago or so, they were the victims of a hate crime. And we were just puzzled. And this gentleman told us that their school was attacked by the very community that they were serving, mostly Turkish community, and they were, pelted with stones, and a teacher's car was overturned, of course, and a teacher's car was burned as well. And because as a human rights lawyer, a Turkish human rights lawyer, I know what he was talking about. This was the direct result of a very vicious hate campaign towards a group of people known as the Gülen movement. And this school was associated with Gülen movement. And the perpetrators of this heinous act was they organized in Facebook, and but of course the hate speech was directed at this particular group of people by the Turkish authorities for obvious reasons. Was perpetrated, was amplified by the Turkish media and, of course, the social media as well. So I'm just, and you know, from first-hand experience, we heard how hate speech and leads to hate crime in the most appalling way in the heart of Europe, basically. And today I have, like I said, Noor Azizah with us, and she's going to talk about. Talk to us about how exactly hate speech resulted in hate crimes in a totally different part of the world. Noor, we are with you.
Thank you so much, Coşkun, for the introduction. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you all see that? It's loading.
I don't think we can see you at all.
Yeah, you can see that?
All right, hang on. I think we have a technical issue. There you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're on mute. Yeah, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry, can I go ahead now?
Yes, please do.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yep.
So today I'm going to be speaking about hate speech against the Rohingya people, and how hate speech has been utilized as a tool for genocide and violence against the ethnic Rohingya for 84 years. Sorry, I can just hear a little bit of noise from the meeting room. So very quickly, the Rohingya people, we are an indigenous ethnic group from the country Myanmar, Burma. In our country, we have more than 135 ethnic groups. Rohingya are not recognized. Sorry, are you able to mute the meeting room? Because I can hear it. So Rohingya, these are real pictures of Rohingya people. According to the United Nations, the Rohingya are the most persecuted ethnic minority in the world. So about me, very quickly, I was born in Rakhine State, Arakan State. This is where the Rohingya people are from, in the red. In the 90s, my family and I had to flee the violence. My mother carried 5 of her children, including myself, across Southeast Asia. We walked to the jungles of Southeast Asia. We took every mode of transportation possible. We took the train, we took the bus. We relied on the generosity of both communities, and we ended up on a very small island in Malaysia, Borneo, over here. And I lived in exile for 8 years and a half. And then I was resettled to Australia, hence you can hear my Australian accent. And I run an organization called Rohingya Maìyafuìnor Collaborative Network. which is a refugee-led, Rohingya-led organization, and hate speech has been a huge factor in the work that we do. This is evidence of Rohingya belonging. We were the kingdom of Rahma before we were colonized by Myanmar, and then we became Britain, and then we became Japanese occupied for a couple of years, and then we became Burma Myanmar again. These are evidence of Rohingya belonging in our country, identity cards that were wiped by the military and also made us stateless in 1982. We are the largest stateless population in the world today. Beginning of the Rohingya genocide since 1942. What this looked like was compulsory labor, making Rohingya work, citizenship stripped away from us in 1982, rape employed as a military tactic. In 2017, more than 20,000 Rohingya women were raped, confiscation of land, physical violence, restrictions on marriage. The Rohingya cannot marry outside of our ethnic group without permission from the state. Closure of our mosques, denial of access to education, regulation of families, training of villages and homes. And this is a recognized genocide. So there are multiple genocide determinations by multiple states, and there is an ongoing ICJ case. Why was the genocide of the Rohingya so successful? The use of hate speech, misinformation, disinformation against Rohingya for a very long time by the military. The military is an extremist group, and they also work with extremist Buddhist group. This monk over here represents Mabata. Mabata is an extremist Buddhist group. The Rohingya as a threat to Myanmar. So they spread anti-Rohingya rhetoric all over the country. And these are some of the examples, calling Rohingya Bengalis, saying that we don't belong in our country, saying that we're illegal immigrants, comparing us to animals, calling us cockroaches, thorns, black refugees, dark refugees. And this was tactical. They used hate speech in the country in order to gain domestic support. And then violence against Rohingya is happening inside the country, and it's being normalized because Rohingya have been dehumanized compared to cockroaches. So people don't see us as human. And unfortunately, they received a large amount of domestic support. I'm going to in the country. These are Rakhine ethnic group at the bottom over here. Protesting, saying that there is no Rohingya on the land. The current Prime Minister of the country, General Min Aung, has given himself this title, said that this is a Bengali problem and this needs to be solved and unfinished. And he carried out Operation Clearance in 2017, which displaced more than 700,000 Rohingya refugees, and they live in the largest refugee camp in the world in Bangladesh. Today, more than 1.4 million Rohingya refugees live in Bangladesh in the refugee camps. So these are evidence of the bulldozing of Rohingya villages from Google Images that was used in the ICJ before and after. More than 360 villages were burnt to the ground. There is economic incentive to dispossess us from our land. During genocide, they built, Myanmar alongside China built this pipeline, the Chokpyu port, from the bottom till the top to transport goods and services because we are landlocked. So yeah, this still exists till today, and this destroyed many Rohingya villages. This is the pipeline. Impact of the genocide. I spoke about the largest refugee camp in the world. Many are still stuck inside the genocide, inside Rakhine State, Arakan State, also known as Arakan State. Rohingya fleeing to neighboring countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, India, and so on, just like my family. In the last year alone, there's been an 80% increase of Rohingya arrivals in Malaysia and Indonesia because the violence has escalated, and 75% of them are women and children. And I'll speak more about the hate speech against Rohingya in Southeast Asia as well. This is stats from the last year and a half. More than 120,000 Rohingya refugees fled to Bangladesh. Okay, so we've been collecting hate speech in ASEAN. So what we saw in the last year and a half is the rampant hate speech increasing against Rohingya. And the languages are not new. They are borrowed from Myanmar, Burma. You can see saying that Rohingya women give birth to too many babies, we are dark, saying that we're not real Muslims. Now this hate speech is being used by politicians to garner political votes and popularity in the region. So they're using the Rohingya genocide as a tool to put money and votes in their pockets. And this hate speech really increasing during the election in Indonesia. And the hate speech is manifesting to actual violence against our people. And unfortunately, everyday people are falling for this hate speech. You can just spend 30 seconds reading this one. So this is another very common one that we see on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, saying that we're not deserving refugees because we don't behave as well as Palestinians. And it's a pattern that I've seen. Even yesterday, I was collecting hate speech and I was seeing the exact same pattern. So it's saying that we are not deserving, that we don't behave well. Let's read this one as well. This person tagged me immediately on my Instagram. Let's move on, sorry, because of time. This was a video posted by UNHCR Asia. And I don't think people listened to the video because in the video I speak about repatriation and how we want to go back home when it's safe to do so, dignified repatriation, and so on. And there were more than 5,500 comments on this video, and most of it was just hate speech from Southeast Asia. As you can see the examples here. Gender-based violence was used as a tool against Rohingya as well. As I said, about 2017, more than 25,000 women were raped, and many were impregnated as well. So the manifestation of the hate speech in Southeast Asia, what we are also seeing is violence against Rohingya being normalized in Malaysia and Indonesia, boats being turned away. Shared religion, being Muslims, is not good enough anymore. People are turning a blind eye. In Malaysia, more than 2,000 Rohingya children detained today. There was a young mum, her boat was pushed away in Indonesia. She had 2 children on the boat. 1 child died from starvation, and she had to throw her child in the ocean because she didn't know when she would be disembarked. I don't think any mother should go through that. There were mock attacks at the Rohingya refugee camps in Indonesia. Rohingya women were facing gender-based violence by Indonesian human traffickers on the boat. 6 women last year arrived in Aceh pregnant and raped by the same human trafficker. They've given birth from rape, and we were the first organization to step up and provide gender-sensitive care to them. Now, these are some incredible Rohingya women doing work for the community, and I think it's important to speak about how they've always been the glue to our community, and this is an invisible labour, something that we don't speak about. What work have we done to combat some of the hate speech narratives? We've run dialogue with women from Myanmar, in Chiang Mai at the border, with Shan, Bama, Karen, Pao, Kamon, Ton, and other ethnic groups about the plight of Rohingya. For some of them, it was the first time meeting us. We spent a beautiful 2 days with them, so we started the reconciliation process. Thailand, we held cultural nights showing that we are more than what Google Images shows you. We have our own culture, our own language. People visited Indonesia and the Rohingya refugee camp, the concerns of our people. We visited Malaysia as well, doing the same work. In Australia, we held cultural events, Doctors Without Borders, special rapporteur on Myanmar in Australia, visiting our people, our community in diaspora. In Canada, we did a bit of advocacy work. They were the first country to have a genocide determination and recognize the Rohingya genocide. In the US, holding film festivals. Switzerland, doing advocacy work at the UN. Bangladesh, visiting our people. Guatemala, working on missing and disappeared persons. Southern Philippines, building solidarity with the BAM region, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, given that they have their own history of persecution. We connected with the Marawi women. Kenya, food always brings everybody together. Just a few photos of surviving the genocide. Having my first ever identification passport. This is where I felt like I was back as a human being. First birthday I've ever celebrated. It provides care and to more than 3,000 families in the last year. All of our projects. This is some of the hate speech we retrieved. You can spend a few minutes with. Some of educational opportunities we've provided for our women in the camps in Indonesia. This is the 6 Rohingya women that we helped. Okay, I might stop it there just in respect of time. It is 1:30 a.m. where I am. So, Coşkun, I'm wondering if you want to do my Q&A now.
I was wondering whether you could stay with us, if it's not going to be too much trouble, because I might.
Did you want to do my Q&A now? Because I will have to leave so I can sleep.
Okay, all right.
1:30.
All right. So okay, we'll make an exception. Okay. Any questions for Noor from the audience? I think Noor, we can let you go. Sorry. Yeah.
Should I take the microphone?
Yes, I think you will have to.
Sorry. Thank you for your presentation and the speech. I just have a very small question. I'm wondering, given the ongoing civil war in Myanmar, is there some kind of a shift towards perception of Rohingya with respect to some parts of the rebel movement? Do you think that there's potential for some kind of a change in perceptions in attitudes in case there's going to be change of government, or you don't think that there's some kind of leeway?
I mean, things have shifted ever since 2021. Before 2021, there was many genocide deniers in the country. There still is, but eventually, when we started the reconciliation process, holding dialogues in the border and having conversations with other people from Myanmar, I had people come to me and cry and say, "I'm so sorry I didn't speak about your plight until now," because people realized the military were the terrorists, not the Rohingya. So yeah, there is a bit of a shift, but we still need to do more work. There are still people that are saying, "Oh, like, we know about the Rohingya, why do we keep speaking about the Rohingya? Why don't we speak about the entire country?" Unfortunately, the entire country are not facing a genocide. There is an intent to kill and to wipe out the Rohingya. And there are many factors to support this. But yes, to answer your question, things have changed in terms of the public. But in terms of government, we still need to hold the NUG government accountable. Till today, I still don't see any reports by the NUG calling out the Arkan Army. The Arkan Army is a Rakhine ethnic group army who have conducted the recent genocidal violence in the last year and a half, killed hundreds of people, raped many women. We've collected many testimonies. I've heard nothing from the NUG. So yeah, we do need to hold the future government accountable if they will be governing the country.
No, thank you. I mean, we are very sorry what you're having to go through with your people, but thank you for being with us today and for your presentation. And we'll let you go now. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sure. If the audience would like to stay connected, you can follow our work on Instagram. We are Rohingya Women Collaborative.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy the conference.
We'll continue with, if we may, with you, Jan Dąbkowski from Center of Citizenship Education. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, Jan Dąbkowski. As you said, Center for Citizenship Education here in Warsaw. I'm the head of anti-discrimination education team, and we are the biggest organization in Poland which supports teachers and schools with different topics, not only with anti-discrimination, but I'm coming from here as the topic of hate speeches is coming also in my portfolio. So I'm also the trainer and author of educational materials, and almost 10 years ago, I was a national coordinator for the No Hate Speech movement campaign in Poland. So here I would like to introduce you to the topic AI, of involvement AI in education in the context of prevention and reaction to hate speech. So this is what we are doing. And if you can make it bigger, the presentation. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, wondering if I can manage it from here. Yes, I can. Okay, so a few words about connection of hate speech and disinformation, because we are dealing with this combined phenomenon. So hate speech and disinformation are connected as both are coming to us online and offline. So both are targeting individual people as well as groups with specific identifications, like minorities. Both hate speech and disinformation spread denial, lies, manipulations, intention to cause harm, and indeed they cause harm, both. They are silencing people, trying to withdraw them from the society, trying to popularize societies, trying to raise fear, hatred, hostility. So this is the common things for hate speech and disinformation. They are empowering each other to make a bigger harm to the society. And because of that, we've combined the powers of partners, 13 partners from 5 countries, to develop educational tools to support teachers, educators, to work with students on identification, prevention, and reaction to hate speech and disinformation. So we engaged fact-checking organizations from these 5 countries. We've engaged civil society organizations as well as IT developers to combine our powers, our experiences, our data as well, to create the tools which we are now developing, and we are at the final stage now. So one of them is educational toolkit. We combined the knowledge about disinformation, hate speech, how they interact between themselves, how you can identify, prevent, and react to them. And there is some theory, there are some educational activities, and they will be available in these 5 languages, so Polish, Italian, Spanish, Maltese, and of course English. And beside of the educational toolkit, so it was the basis for us to work with education about this topic. We have developed the online platform, which is consisting from one side, this educational activities which I presented before. So these are about human rights education, they are about hate speech and disinformation identification, what it's about, how the causes and the results of it, like how you can react on them. And also how you can keep calm facing them. So for us, it is very important that one of the things you can do is just calm down before you react. So like some simple activities which you can do as a young people, because we are targeting it to young people. How you can calm down before, to not spread hate, not spread aggression, to not get involved in it, and also to keep calm, to also to decide if you want to be engaged in a reaction, or you just want to skip off from that and don't be involved and keep your mind free from that. So, but coming back to the online platform, so we have this educational activities there, translated to the online version, but also we have the youth space for connected with the AI model, which we have developed in these 5 languages. And there is a chatbot where young people can exercise reactions for hate speech. So they can speak with the chat and getting to know how different perspectives, like human rights perspective, disinformation, fact-checking perspective, or mixed perspectives, can be implemented in the reacting and responding to hate speech and disinformation. What is important in this topic, we try to be very much sensitive about, of course, developing this model or AI model, so it doesn't hurt young people. We are working usually. I mean, the project is about over 18 young people, but of course we want to develop it so much so it can be also used with the younger people. So we don't want to hurt them with this, exposing them to hate speech, of course, and disinformation. We want them so this AI model don't hurt them because of their identity with which they come to exercise them. So these are the things we are thinking about. We also want to avoid hallucination of AI so the chatbot is not making up something. We try to develop this AI chatbot based on facts, fact-checking articles brought by our fact-checking partners, as well as educational materials, human rights materials. So the chat knows a lot about human rights and all this values of democracy, the civil society, and so on. And also now we are at the stage, the final stage of from the final stage of testing this educational toolkit and the platform with people, with experts as well. So we hope soon we'll also publish these materials so many schools and our countries can use it. You can get to know more about these activities and our project on these channels. So you're welcome also to talk to put questions and so on at the end of the meeting.
Thank you very much for having me. And please, can I see on my presentation? Yeah, you were close. That's one last click to make it bigger. Oh, thank you very much. I represent the Never Again Association, and I would like to first. I'm learning, I'm sorry. I learned, thank you, I'm sorry. Never Again Association is anti-racist independent NGO that was established in Poland almost 30 years ago. And our mission is what we try to do is to counteract racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, discrimination. The most important part of our job is to provide hate crime and hate speech monitoring. We also carry out some social educational campaigns against prejudices and against hate. I like very much our motto. It was created before I joined Never Again: human beings, not nations. Human beings first. For years we have tried to break the silence around the problem of racism, xenophobia and discrimination. It was not so obvious to talk publicly and to have many articles in Polish media about these problems. And we've tried to build a movement, and we are a movement of most often of volunteers that try to act against this problem, racism, discrimination, xenophobia. But also we try to concentrate on something positive. We try to promote respect for diversity as a value. And nowadays it's not so obvious, the word diversity. It's even in some countries that one that is not liked again, not popular again, let's say this. A few words about, I would say, the most important part of our activity, the Brown Book. It's a kind of chronicle of attacks against minorities, physical attacks and verbal attacks. We have been collected them since for all the time that we are active. The Brown Book is a kind of chronicle of incidents, and we document attacks motivated by racism, xenophobia, neo-fascism, homophobia, anti-Semitism. And we have published some books in a printed version. For a few years we have been publishing them as PDF. And I'm allowed to say that it's the unique publication in Poland because it's a very, let's say, dark version of Polish reality. If you are interested how it looks like the attitude towards minorities in our country. So here is the collection of archive of aggression, of hate, of prejudices. And this documentation, it's only the first step or starting point to do something with this problem, to know what's going on, what is the scale, what groups have been attacked, and what we could or should do. Now I would like to tell you something about last month, but it's not easy to tell you in 10 minutes, but I will try. I choose a topic for today, the rise of hate crime that was caused by hate speech, as we have heard before, how devastating it is, how this chain of hate starts, where it starts, and in which point it ends. And this summer in Poland has brought us an escalation of xenophobic attitude, and I'm calling this hysteria, and it was largely fueled by politicians, and we are witnessing attacks on minorities on a scale that was not seen before. And few words about so-called civic patrols. Civic patrols, it's nothing new this year. It happened in the past. So-called civic patrols, it's nothing else than aggressive militias created by far-right groups, and they were created to defend against migrants. And from time to time, these groups, these manifestations are marching through in different cities. September last year in Żerardów, is a city close to Warsaw, this so-called civic patrol, xenophobic manifestation, these people were gathered, they were shouting, "This is Poland, we are doing what everybody should," and this patrol brutally assaulted migrants that were residing at the local worker hostels. Ukrainians, Azerbaijans, and Georgians defended themselves with fire extinguisher in the hostel. And as a result, 70 migrants resigned from their work and they left the city. And this year we are observing much more intensive activity of the civic patrols. It started, let's say, in March, and I chose this one example because it's very well we can see how it usually look like. Słubice, it's from March. Słubice, it's a city connecting, it's a city on a Polish and German border, and xenophobic demonstration was organized there under the pretext of Germany allegedly flooding Poland with migrants. And it was organized by Robert Bąkiewicz. He's holding microphone. He is a far-right activist. He also ran to the Polish parliament without success. He was supported very much by previous Polish nationalistic government with the millions of zloty. And I would say he is used as someone who is good at organizing aggressive people to show the power of nationalistic attitude in Poland and to create it when it's necessary. And during this manifestation, he was chanted the slogan, all of Poland sings with us, get out across the border with the migrants." And also he spread hatred and false information. I quote, "The state is forcing us to accept rapes, attacks, and robberies by migrants." In this one statement, it's well visible how this nationalistic far-right ideology looks like, why migrants are attacked. And of course, there were some flags with racist symbols. Above his head is a racist cross, the symbol of so-called white power. And this kind of demonstrations he organized more and more often. and he established even a formal group called the Border Defense Movement. And what they did in different cities of Poland close to the Polish-German border was to illegally stop cars at border, and they organized xenophobic demonstrations like that. So what does it say about Poland as a democratic country? Group of aggressive men stop the car, they check the ID without any legal authorization, and they search the vehicle. We have many information that policemen were there, were present, and did not react. And it happened in different places. A group of aggressive men that stop your car. And something that is, it was absurd, because in the same time, the institutions, state services, they report that nothing new was happening on the Polish-German borders. There were not any more migrants. There were not any wave of people that want to go suddenly to Poland. It was all created for political reasons, and with great success, I would say, because what was the answer from the government? At the beginning of July, Poland introduced controls on its borders with both Germany and Lithuania. So you can understand it as a legitimization of far-right actions, as fulfilling the goals of these far-right manifestations. And what was next? Very soon, these actions, this xenophobic atmosphere and hysteria was taken up by a confederation, far-right parliamentary party, led by Sławomir Mencen, a politician. He's known for the slogan, "We stand against Jews, homosexuals, abortion, taxes, and the European Union." He also was a candidate in a presidential election with a good result. And he and Confederation was able to organize on 19th of July over 80 xenophobic, hateful manifestations in different cities of Poland, 80. And it was, he used this poster, xenophobic, horrible poster, Stop Immigration. And one example of such manifestation, it was in Warsaw. You can see what is written on the banner. 3 prohibition signs featuring images of Africa, the Star of David, and the Islamic crescent with the Muslim family. And during this manifestation, also there were some other banners and slogans like, I quote, "Stop the immigrant invasion, stop immigration, this is Poland." Football fans of Legia Warsaw club, they chanted, "Poland entirely white only." And Legia Warsaw is a racist club, and some anti-fascist manifestators were attacked by this far-right militia. And one more example, because you might say, okay, Warsaw, it's different place than everywhere else in Poland. So manifestation from Kielce city in the south part of Poland, city central south, and it was 26th July, so 1 week later, Kielce against immigration, the same slogan. It was not organized by Confederation, but also by the far right, All Polish Youth group, and with a huge banner, Kielce against immigration. But also they had a special guest. This guest was Janusz Waluś, Polish immigrant, a racist killer. In 1993, he was in South Africa, And there he killed Chris Hani. He was an anti-apartheid leader. Janusz Waluś, Polish migrant, was a neo-Nazi. He belonged to some neo-Nazi South African group, and he wanted to stop the democratic changes, very early democratic changes in South Africa at that time. He also was planning to murder Mandela, but first he chose Hani. He shouted him and was sentenced at first to death. When the law changed, he spent 29 years in South Africa in prison. In 24, in December, he came to Poland. He was released. And what is very interesting that Waluś, when he was in prison, he somehow became a hero for far right in Poland. For a few years, we documented transparents praising him, praising his crime. When he came to Poland, he was supported very much by by Grzegorz Braun. He is now a member of European Parliament. Previously, he was a member of Polish Parliament. And Grzegorz Braun came to South Africa, and then he took Waluś to the plane, and they both came to Poland. And Waluś supported Braun, who is charged because he committed some hate crime. He regularly, for years, propagates hatred towards minorities. His parliamentary immune was removed. He is now waiting to be judged. I hope it will happen, because for years he could do whatever he wanted to. Coming back to Waluś, so Waluś supported Braun, Braun supported and helped Waluś. Now Waluś, the racist killer, he was invited and he participates in a meeting like this. So it's Kielce. And with organizer of this manifestation. And one more thing from this demonstration, he was greeted with honors. Organizers said to the microphone to the people that were gathered, I quote, "There is one important person here among you, Janusz Waluś, so let us shout for him, glory to the heroes." And people shouted glory to the heroes. And in an interview, Waluś told about this manifestation, "I am glad that some reaction is awakening in the nation. This is the most important thing. I really like the initiative of organizing such marches. This is what we need right now. The situation is extremely serious," said someone who killed because he wanted to apartheid to be continued. And you may now ask, so what? 80 manifestations one day, more and more in summer. Very few examples. So what? The rise of hate crimes is unfortunately very well visible. I don't remember, and I am a member of Never Again for almost 20 years, so many physical attacks against people who belong to minorities or are perceived that they are belonging to minorities. So many hateful attacks. Just examples, it was the moment when this far-right militia was very active on the Polish-German border. Warsaw, 3 men attacked a Moroccan student on a bus, and he wrote to us, "While I was returning home by bus after spending time with friends, I was harassed by 3 Polish individuals. They threw nuts at my face and mocked me throughout the ride. Despite other passengers being present, no one intervened. I felt humiliated, alone, and deeply hurt." I could give you more and more examples of such attacks. Almost every day during summer we received such info. So this is at the end, or maybe not end, in the middle of this chain, how hate is going bigger and bigger and what it causes. But I don't want to end with this slide. I would like just to introduce you to cooperate with us, and it's not slogan. I'm afraid it's the only possibility if we really want to change something in our reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. I think we have just a few minutes for a very quick questions and answers session. But of course, there's no reason why we should continue our conversation in the foyer.
I just wonder, you said that Poland was flooded by Germany. So I was surprised because people trying to come to Germany, I'm from Germany anyway, from Poland to apply for asylum and for migration. So what's the base on this? And I know that populist leaders and far rights are using these myths and, you know, non-factual misinformations to feed the public with hate. But is there anything that collaborated with this kind of claim? Or?
I have data with me because there were some cases where, in fact, some migrants were, let me find it, were readmitting. It means sending back from Germany to Poland.
Because of Dublin agreement.
Yeah, and these small numbers of people, it was 564 in 23, 357 in 24, 500, more than 500 in 23, more than 300 in 24. So it's not a flood, it's not a wave, but it was enough to let the far right spread this narrative. There are a flood of people, Germans send us migrants back, we are in danger. That was enough. The numbers were not important. I would say that even 3 people with photos and relation in social media would be enough to spread such narrative.
Good evening. I would like to ask one question. We understood that these things happen for for a long time, yes? But why we can't stop it? I want to hear actually your opinion, therefore I ask.
I'm afraid that our politicians from different groups, of course, in a different scale, but still is useful for politicians to have this xenophobic atmosphere. Never again publish a report, hate speech in a campaign before the parliamentary election in 23. And the topic of migrants was used by politicians from all the politicians groups, all parties. Left parties uses is of course very rare, but even they. So it's the answer would be simply, maybe too simply, because it's a good political fuel, xenophobia.
I partly agree, of course, but maybe you will think about maybe a little bit deeper about it, because it's not only politicians' fault, yes, but I think it's about our society. Maybe if you are educators, you know about your topic. Maybe we, as you invited, we should collaborate. But also I understand all our society don't understand why we spread this information about migrants, minorities, and so on, yes? And maybe why I asked about what the problem of this, because it's actually deeper question, very deep question, yes. And I would like to hear from you as a professionals, maybe some deeper answer on this question. Yes, not only on focus on your topic. I mean,
I'm not sure if I can give you this answer because it's so complex problem and there is absolutely not one answer why hate is so attractive and so easy. We have politicians, but we have people who support them. The rise of far-right parties, of extreme right parties. Grzegorz Braun got 6%. A few years ago, we were thinking about him like some margin, some dangerous, some, let's say, not very clever margin. Nowadays, he is marching towards center. And the question why migrants, and I remember 2015 and some research conducted in Poland. The answer, the question was, would you help refugees? And it was in the middle of 2015, but before this hysteria started, before it was used for political purpose during the election campaign. And more than 60% of the people answered, yes, I would help the refugees. It changed dramatically because of the propaganda, because people actually believed that migrants mean threat. And another research that I remembered was, the question was, what are you afraid the most? That's all. And for because of such few months propaganda, people did not pick up, I'm afraid my husband, my wife will die, lost job, something bad happened to my children. The first answer was, I'm afraid of migrants and refugees. So it shows how easy it is to manipulate people's minds and opinion, but still I'm not sure why. Maybe we don't want to think deeper. Maybe it's very easy and useful to think they are guilty. This white, black world without gray. We reduce, we remove, we don't want gray. We want yes or not. And I know it's not a deep answer, but I'm trying to think in this, let's say, even anthropologist's criteria. It's a known mechanism that people for centuries and in different cultures, they needed a scapegoat. So maybe we have something in our minds, our human being construction, that we need someone to, it's your guilt, not mine.
I've got one question. I just want to wrap this up in a very positive note, if I may. I'm sorry, you didn't hear. Sorry. I just want to wrap it up in a positive note. So I've got one question, and it's for Alketa, and I was itching to ask this question because you've been doing a lot of work at No Hate Speech Network and aimed at children and younger people. And I mean, what communication or training approaches have proven most effective when it comes to combating hate speech?
Since we are using non-formal educations, since we are working with the Council of Europe, we tend to use mostly the manuals that they have, like Compass, like bookmarks, that they have their concrete exercises and how people can be educated how to tackle online hate speech, but also the offline hate speech. So using the bookmarks and also Compass, it helps us to work with young people, and not only young people, but to make them in scenarios or simulation that they can know how to tackle the online hate speech and how to prevent it, how to combat it, etc. So through this non-formal education, we work with young people. But not only with these manuals, because sometimes the manuals has to be adapted with your group that you are working with, but also we work with peer-to-peer educations. Like in our activities, we tend to be with people, like we work in offline matter, like going to speak, to see how is the situation in different countries, etc. What we do now is also the follow-up that we are doing. Like we have the mentorship doing with these young people, and not only that all our board members work as mentors, like checking what they are doing, their activities in their countries, how are the difficulties that they are doing, etc. So we just we don't finish our activities and that we forget about the people. Let's speak about hate speech. What is the hate speech and how are we going to tackle? But of course, we do the mentorships, peer-to-peer educations. Like we tend to work with real activities and also with real cases, and we educate them how they can react, as also Jan mentioned a little bit before, like trying to make them to understand what is the online speech, online hate speech, and also the offline hate speech, and how they can react to this one. Because first we have to understand, then we have to know what is and where is the definition and where is this online hate speech. Then we can work with the combating and preventing and working with the young people on this.
I'm afraid we're out of time now, and but one thing I just want to know, we were broadcasting this online, so we had over 250 people watching us basically online, so that underlines the importance of this issue and how people actually relate to it. And but of course, in my closing remarks, what I can say, whether it is the members of the Gulen movement who've been the subject of a relentless hate speech campaign in Turkey, which resulted in the imprisonment of hundreds of thousands of people, and hundreds of thousands of people have lost their jobs, or whether it is the people in Rohingya, as we've just heard from Noor earlier. Hate speech has devastating consequences for so many people, and it's not just Poland. I think it's a problem everywhere now, even in the UK. Which is a immigrant friendly, which used to be a very immigrant friendly. But we are very happy that people like our speakers, they are actively trying to combat it through their respective organizations, that trend change. And of course you who show interest in this matter, and that of course encourages people like our guests today, and that gives us hope for the future. And thank you very much. Like I said, there is no reason why we should continue this in the foyer. But for now, thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.